Welcome to Continue Countdown. I am your host, John Scelzo, and this time I'm joined by staff writer Mike Ryan
Yo.
and Adam Wilcott, one of Warp Zone's founding editors.
Hello, everybody.
In today's show, we'll be discussing the next generation console war, the next Super Mario game, and the next game in the Borderlands saga. But first, we begin with the recently completed PAX East and The Evil Within. PAX East attendees got their first look at The Evil Within during the convention, and the reaction was, it wasn't great. Adam, have you heard
Yes.
about what everyone was saying about The Evil Within, and what do you think?
Sounded like it wasn't really all that scary, which seems like to defeat the purpose of a horror game. But other than that, I honestly haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it yet.
No, I think with the Evil Within, obviously a lot of people comparing it to Resident Evil 4. And Resident Evil 4, it wasn't as so much scary as the other Resident Evils. It was more like intense, especially that scene when you're in the cabin and it's being swarmed by all the villagers and you have to push the bookshelves in front of the door and everything. That was a different kind of scare for me. It was just, it wasn't. It was more like edge of your seat, like I don't know, like action and I don't know. It really had me. I don't know, my palms sweating and everything. I don't know. I think maybe the audience has kind of grown out of that kind of thing. Not so much the game itself hasn't changed, just the audience.
Well, I think the big thing with The Evil Within was with the PAX East demo anyway, was that the main character was basically a Terminator. He had 6 different guns. He was shooting things like he had a sniper rifle and was shooting zombies. There are zombies in the game, which had no idea. And he's shooting from across the screen. He's got a bow and arrow that shoots arrows that freeze the zombies in their tracks, and then he can just knock them apart like the T-1000 Terminator 2.
So as Resident Evil 6 then.
It seemed a little ridiculous, not at all like what we were promised before.
Well, it doesn't sound like it. That doesn't sound like a horror game. It sounds like describing Resident Evil 4 is a little more of a action-adventure style game more than anything.
Right, everything we heard about before was that this is going to be, Shinji Mikami's return to horror, and there was nothing at all scary about it.
Yeah. When's that set to come out?
August.
Okay. Yeah, so they're kind of past that point then.
Well, I suppose
they're in the home stretch.
Yeah.
I suppose there's also the possibility that maybe they're hiding things, but yeah, if it's that close to the home stretch, then probably not.
Well, we could just hope for the best because I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Just hearing all that news, man, that was upsetting. Because, like I said, I love the Resident Evil movie, or not the movies, please God, no, not the movies. I love the games, and like you said, it was supposed to be a return to horror, and yeah, the way things are shaping up, I don't know. Let's just hope it gets better.
We can hope. Well, another game coming out this year, actually sometime this fall, is going to be Borderlands the PreSequel. I don't know how familiar either of you guys are with the Borderlands series, but the PreSequel is supposed to still be on PC, PS3, and Xbox 360. Did they miss their chance not putting it on the PS4 or the Xbox One? Mike, what do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm glad Nicole's not here because I played Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2, and to me they were Borderlands.
No.
So, I mean, they were fun, and then I'm just like, after like 15 hours, I'm like, okay, I think I've had enough of this. But I think, I think there's still a huge market for the last gen systems, and there's still plenty of good stuff coming out. So no, I think having Borderlands on the 360 and the PS3 is still a good choice. They could have gone the route and had it on both. Slightly upscaled or better performing for the better performing systems. But no, I don't. I think being on the 360 and PS3, they're definitely going to a bigger market. So,
well, I think it makes sense because they're probably reusing the assets and the engine, so it's probably a very cheap game to put together. So that makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, it seems like no one's really buying old games anymore. Everybody wants stuff on the new system, so it's sort of one of those things where you can see it either way, but it probably should be a next-gen game or whatever you want to call it now, but I can see why they put it on PS3 and 360 because it's probably very cheap to put together.
So it's just a quick cash in.
Pretty much.
Kind of like last year's Arkham Origins.
Yes, I think that's pretty much. It's not even, and it's not Gearbox doing the game anyway. It's somebody else, so it's probably going to
Oh.
be on the same level.
Right.
Because someone, I think it's 2K Australia is making it, so
Yes.
it's going to be a B team game anyway. So it's definitely one of those things they're putting together to squeeze a little money.
Do you think this would be the start of a trend? I mean, because I hear Ubisoft might actually make another Assassin's Creed for just PS3 and 360.
Ubisoft making another Assassin's Creed? No.
Well, no. They're making one for PS4 and Xbox One, and one for 360 and PS3.
Right, but still,
That's
just
still
seems.
crazy.
Yeah, it almost seems too much.
It's excessive, and the problem is that I mean, look at some of the games they released, like Gran Turismo 6, which just did not do very well at all when it released on PS3. Right after the PS4 came out, no one's really wants old games anymore. They want the ones on the new systems. So if they make the Assassin's Creed, they make two different ones. The PS3 and 360 one is going to bomb probably.
Very possible.
I don't think Borderlands will. It's a pretty good audience for that, and the people already have the systems. But actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they do a up-converted version of it for PS4 and Xbox One next year.
Yeah, after they release that one. Oh yeah, by the way.
Yeah, after it maybe doesn't do as well as they hoped, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, with Sony just announcing The Last of Us Remastered, should companies keep doing all these just if you want to call it next generation, current generation, whatever you want to call it, keep doing these remakes? Is this just too much? Mike, what do you think?
You know what? When I heard about The Last of Us, I was very happy to hear that because I have not played The Last of Us yet, and this is perfect for me. So, since I've got my PS4, I could, I'm going to definitely get that version when it comes out. So I say, hey, bring them on as long as they're selling.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, the PS4 doesn't play PS3 games, so there's no other way to play it. And The Last of Us, I played The Last of Us. It was a great game, but it definitely was held back a little bit by the limitations of the PS3. So you'll want, now you'll get this version with all the extra content, the Left Behind thing, which also is really good. And it sounds like they're possibly going to do kind of an upgrade for PS3 owners. They can get the game for, maybe $10 like they did last year with some of their games. Then it's a win-win for everybody.
I guess, I don't know, part of me thinks, yes, this is great, more games for more people, for more systems. That's always a good idea. But are the developers just wasting their time with some of this stuff? I mean, shouldn't Naughty Dog be worried more about Uncharted 4 and possibly whatever they're doing next than just up-converting The Last of Us?
Probably.
Yeah, they said, I know, I read an article where Naughty Dog was saying they're not putting as much effort into the Last of Us PS4 version, but I understand your point. I mean, it definitely takes manpower away from working on these other games. It could result in further delays or even worse, a worse product for a future product. So,
right. Well, I mean, Naughty Dog has two teams. They have the Uncharted team and the Last of Us team. So in all likelihood, they're not losing any resources, but it's definitely something where maybe they could have put some of those people on Uncharted and vice versa, or they could have been brainstorming on the sequel or whatever. And maybe they're not even as involved as you might think. They could have one of the some other development team working on it, like Blue Point Games or something.
That's true.
They've said they're handling it, but they outsource this stuff all the time. So who really knows?
Right. That's a good point.
Though I will say in general, I don't like the concept all that much of remastering all these games because, you're going to just make this whole new hardware cycle look like the last one.
Possibly.
I played Tomb Raider, the definitive one on my PS4, and it is like the best version of Tomb Raider you're going to find. But I would hope that as this generation comes along, and some of these games that were probably shouldn't have been in older hardware are going to come out, and then we'll forget about it and start focusing on new stuff.
Okay, well, all of these remakes aren't stopping people from buying next-generation consoles. They're doing that quite well. Sony just announced that the PS4 has sold 7 million consoles worldwide, and Microsoft has turned around and said that they have shipped 5 million Xbox Ones to retailers. So Sony is clearly pulling away. Adam, do you think this is all she wrote, or are we way, way too early for something like that?
I think it's still a little too early. It's getting pretty close where, the companies are going to have to decide where they want to put games, and if PS4 is going to start pulling away, the Xbox is going to run out of stuff. Even with like at last generation where the games were on both systems, that may not happen as much if Xbox falls behind. But at the same time, the PS3 started out last time and did not do very well, and it eventually almost caught up.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because when I saw this, Sony announcing 7 million sold, Xbox announcing 5 million shipped. Last generation, it was the exact opposite. Xbox was like, oh yeah, we sold this many, and Sony was like, well, we shipped this many. I just find it fascinating that that's completely flipped around for this gen. But yeah, I still think it's way too early to tell. I mean, the PS4 definitely is selling. Now, do they say like where that was in terms of like prior PlayStation consoles or other consoles in general? Is it on par? Or
I know it's definitely a better pace than the PS3.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact percentage, but it's definitely selling at a better clip.
At one point, they had said it was the fastest selling game system of all time. So I don't know if that's still the case. I mean, the Wii, of course, sold a bunch too. So I don't really know if that's still the truth at this time. I mean, it's going to slow down probably over the summer. So if Microsoft drops the price, if they ship a system without a Kinect in it, which seems to be a point of contention for a lot of people, if they have a good E3, that might turn the tide very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the one thing I think before we talk about who could possibly win, it's a stupid moronic question, but you've got to ask these kind of questions.
Mm.
Like nobody seems to have really announced any games beyond like this fall. Like there's almost no idea what's actually coming. And with the PS3, Sony was announcing stuff that wouldn't come out for 3-4 years later, and
like The Last Guardian.
How about Agent?
Agent, oh my God, Agent.
Well, I think Sony's learned their lesson on announcing games they're not ready to show. But I think a lot of people, they're holding their cards pretty close for E3 this year because it's such a big deal. Again, because it's going to be the first full year for these systems. They got to generate the buzz for the fall and beyond.
Right. I kind of agree with that. Like, I just think until we actually see what either of them have planned, or what possibly even Nintendo has planned, you can't forget Nintendo. Well, it's just, you'll never know.
You won't know. It's going to be at least probably another couple of years before we really know. This isn't like the PS2 where it was so far ahead by the time the competition came out that there was no chance of catching up.
Right.
I mean, even Nintendo could have a miraculous turnaround at some point. I mean, maybe, probably not, but it could. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, they've got plans. Like, for example, they just announced the 20th Super Mario game is in development. 20.
Jeez, man, I'm
20
old.
games.
20. Yeah, do we all feel old now?
Yes, I'm going to go into my sarcophagus now.
Mike, are you excited for the 20th Super Mario game?
I'm excited for any Super Mario game, as long as it doesn't have, math or, some other spin-off where what was that other one?
Mario was missing.
Mario was missing, yeah.
Hey, Mario was missing was awesome when I was like 14.
So, as long as it's a Mario proper, going back to, like a Galaxy type game, or even a 2D game. I was pretty disappointed with New Super Mario Brothers Wii, especially after playing Rayman Origins. It just seemed like more of the same, when they could have done so much more with it. So, if they make it a lot more stylized 2D game. Even another thing that shocked me is that with the gamepad, they didn't do like a level editor. It just seemed like it would have been so perfect for that type of game. So I think if they do just a little bit of innovation for the franchise, they could definitely have some amazing title on their hand.
Baby steps, Mike. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Nintendo does nothing.
I'm a big picture kind of guy.
I liked Mario 3D World. I mean, it wasn't Super Mario 64. It wasn't Mario World. It wasn't Mario 3, which just came out on the eShop like yesterday.
Did it finally come out?
It finally came out.
That was supposed to come out last year, I think.
So yeah, it's on the eShop now, and that's just it's Nintendo will always have to compete against their history, and that's just something that it's going to be hard for anybody to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for what I like to call Super Mario Brothers 20. That just sounds so ridiculous and great at the same time.
I think they should take advantage of that and really make a game that's very much like the original game somehow.
Isn't that what New Super Mario Brothers was?
I guess, but now we can go, hey, this is Super Mario Brothers 20, and then kind of reboot it or something like that. I don't know. It'd be a good chance to mix it up possibly, or to go back to what made the original game so great and not do all the crazy stuff they did with New Super Mario Brothers, which I haven't played in a long time, so I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that. Something like a real kind of reboot, but that might be even too much for Nintendo.
I don't know, just a different art style. Like I've seen some fan art of Mario, and trying to make it look like a screenshot, and they could do some real amazing things with just by changing up the art style. Keep the same engine, just make it look different, and then they could definitely turn some heads on that.
Yeah, I mean, even in the new Mario games, the recent ones, like New Super Mario Brothers U, there was one level that was entirely designed like the Starry Night painting. It looked incredible, and I'd play a whole game like that. I really would, but I don't know if they'd ever go for something that crazy.
Mm-hmm. Depends on how desperate they are,
I guess.
No, I was gonna say, I suppose it really depends on how much Nintendo really wants to use it as a way to get the Wii U going again, because that's what it's going to come down to. If it's the Wii U, or is it for Wii U or 3DS, or is it whatever?
Nobody even knows yet. They haven't announced this part.
Then I guess it depends. I mean, I would say it should be for Wii U because they really need to boost that thing up. So it would be a good opportunity for them to get those good feelings back again and draw some attention to the system.
Well, thinking about the 3DS, though, Nintendo has also just said that Super Smash Bros. 4 is going to launch on the 3DS this summer, and the Wii U version will launch in the winter. Is that kind of gap a good idea? Adam, what do you think?
Well, they're obviously playing to their strength. The 3DS is a lot more successful, and it's probably going to sell a lot more copies on it, but it seems to me that, the Wii U version is probably going to be the one you're going to want to play, just because of the playing it on the TV and the visual upgrade. Though, like I said, I think they're more of looking at their bottom line at this point. They want to put on the system where they're actually selling machines.
That's a good point. I mean, and also, there's never been a Super Smash Brothers game on any handheld, so
no,
that's almost like a whole new audience for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they probably have different audiences too, because the 3DS and Wii U audience seems a lot different.
Yeah, like the Wii U audience is almost exclusively people that love Nintendo games.
Yeah. 3DS is pretty much everybody else.
Right, it's much more broad.
Yeah.
And plus, I think if they release them both at the same time, they'll kind of cannibalize each other's sales.
That's probably true, too.
That's true, yeah. I mean, you'd be dropping $100 for both games, and that's just...
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, the diehard Nintendo people, they're going to buy both versions of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you might as well let them, they'll get it out of their system, and then they'll hop on the Wii U version, and by the time the Wii U version comes out, maybe they have forgotten how to play it, or it'll be fresh again, and now you've got those people back.
Plus, with it coming out in the winter, I'm sure they're hoping they'll have some kind of bundle planned for it too.
Probably they should.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then plus also having that the 3DS version out, because fighting games have come so far from back on the Super Nintendo and stuff, where it's so detailed, and you have to research and determine hitboxes and recovery times, things like that. So having the 3DS version out they might even be kind of like be beta testing to make changes to the Wii U version.
That could be too. Yeah, absolutely. They'd want to see what worked and what didn't and balance it to make the Wii U version better.
Huh. I never even considered that.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So congratulations, 3DS owners, on beta testing the game.
Yeah, really. We get the crap version.
That's right.
No, this is Nintendo. They don't do that.
No. They'll update it. If they were really going to do that, they would update the 3DS version anyway.
Yeah. Oh, they should have to. With fighting games, there's constantly patches coming out to, nerf characters, change balances. So yeah, they should absolutely have.
So I mean, if
updates.
they go through and take everything into account from the 3DS version and apply it to the Wii U version, they'll just go in and patch the 3DS so they're equal.
They didn't say anything about the two being compatible, did they?
There's supposed to be some kind of cross-platform something. They're being very vague about it.
Probably maybe stats or something you can carry over with your Nintendo account or something.
Oh.
Something.
I doubt they'll do cross-platform play, but
yeah, that seems a little crazy.
I don't think 3DS could play Wii U. I think there'd be too many network problems between the two systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome, but I don't think it'll work.
No. Well, speaking of mashup games, Disney has announced that Disney Infinity 2.0 will add Marvel characters. Mike, will Marvel characters get you to buy Disney Infinity 2.0?
Marvel characters have already gotten me to buy Disney Infinity 2.0, but not for myself. I say not for myself.
Uh-huh.
It's I am so anti these types of games. Skylanders and Disney Infinity, because you're paying for the content that's already on the disc, and then you're paying an extra $10 just to unlock the content that's already on there. But then it's Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And those are cool looking figurines. And I have a 6-year-old kid, and I'm probably gonna have to buy all of them now. So yeah, so I'm gonna say yes, because it's getting me to buy Infinity 2. But I would like to see it depends on the characters. Obviously, they're gonna have the Avengers on there since they're big money, big cash cows right now. I'd like to see some more obscure characters. I wouldn't mind seeing MODOK on there, or Rocket Raccoon.
Well, yeah, Rocket Raccoon, with the Guardians of the Galaxy movie coming out, I'm sure he'll be involved somehow.
Yeah. So, it just depends on the figures. But yeah, I think at this point, I'm in for 2.0, as much as I hate to say it. I truly do hate to say it. Don't even get me. We could do like another hour and a half, and I could just rant like Dennis Leary or something on Infinity 2.0. Or Infinity and Skylanders, but I digress.
I think if they added Marvel characters and Star Wars characters and let them all mix, as much as I have no real use for any kind of Disney anything, I'd have to buy it.
I wouldn't be surprised they do a Star Wars one, specifically when the next Star Wars movie comes out, because they cannot pass that opportunity to suck more money out of people.
Yeah.
I
don't know, but what is it? They're going to announce everything at the end of April, but there's supposedly, it was leaked that it's going to come out in August.
Right, and the last one came out in August of last year, so that makes sense. Well, 2 games we're reluctant to buy, to games that we might never be able to buy. Ubisoft revealed another piece of Beyond Good and Evil 2 concept art. This game was announced in 2008. 08, thank you.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, I've been waiting.
Will it ever be released? Either of you, go for it.
Yeah, it's going to be released. I was talking to one of the developers over at Ubisoft while he was playing Rayman on the PS4's live stream, and so we were chatting everything. And I asked him, I said, "So what's going on with Beyond Good and Evil 2?" And he said, "Of course, as coyly as possible, just wait," with a little winky face. So I don't know. I'm hoping, especially with the next gen systems, that we'll get some kind of trailer come E3. So I'm hoping we'll get something really soon, because this guy's already got me anticipating it.
No, it'll come out. They probably put too much money into it at this point. It's been, if it's been 6 years, they've got to have something to show for it if they're still working on it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe not a retail game, but more of a download game. Maybe a smaller title instead of a big one, because they probably don't want to spend any more money on it at this point.
I think if they do that, it definitely makes sense financially. But man, I think that would really get a lot of people angry.
I don't know.
I think for like the diehard people,
It seems like that audience wouldn't really care. It'd be like, oh my god, I've been waiting to play this game for so many years that I'll buy it no matter which way it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that seems like the audience that would be more into, the smaller indie style game anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when the first one came out, the indie style game wasn't even a thing. It wasn't even
exactly.
It wasn't even years from being a thing. It's been so long.
2003, I think.
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah. I mean, back that game would have probably been a $20 game now.
Right, and it would probably even be more revered if it were released, sometime in the last couple of years, just because people are so primed for that kind of gameplay.
They did re-release it, on PS3 and Xbox last generation, and that probably did pretty well.
Right. That's probably why they're still even talking about the sequel.
Exactly. If it had not done anything, or if they never released that at all, it would have probably very quietly disappeared. But obviously, there was enough nagging from people that they're working on it, even if it's 5 guys in a basement somewhere.
Okay, so which one will come out first, Beyond Good and Evil 2 or The Last Guardian?
Oh man, that's one of those.
They'll release on the same day, and then the next day will be the Rapture.
Yeah.
I say Beyond Good and Evil because at least you're seeing something. The Last Guardian disappeared. That game basically doesn't exist at this point.
You think?
It might. I mean, I think Sony, if they were going to come out at E3 and go, you remember this game? And then they show Last Guardian, and everyone's going to crap their pants, and no one's going to care what anybody else did at E3. It's going to be like, holy crap, Last Guardian. But, it's one of those things where now you better show this game to people because, at this point, no one expects it to exist anymore. Last Guardian, I mean.
Or Beyond Good and Evil 2. I really don't think it'll ever come out.
I don't know. At some point, they just teasing people, and is it just going to be this, but they're probably going, oh, by the way, we canceled this game, and then everybody hates Ubisoft as it is now, so let's just make it worse. Look at these screenshots. You ain't getting this game.
This is just an internal title. We're not even going to release it.
We're gonna play it, and we're gonna put it on Twitch streaming, but you guys ain't never gonna see it.
People do not really like Ubisoft much anymore. But
Nope.
One developer people do love is the Behemoth. We started with PAX East. We're going to close with PAX East. During the convention, the Behemoth revealed a T-shirt with this just bizarre image on it of some kind of spider woman with a cupcake and a crane on top of it. They say this image is possibly, maybe, from their fourth game. Mike, you played a lot of Battle Block Theater. Are you going to play a game with a spider woman cupcake crane thing?
Oh, I'm looking at this picture right now, and it scares the hell out of me.
Yeah,
And
I'm looking at it too. It's like, what were these people on when they drew this?
the cupcake guy looks like one of those, like the dancing popcorn from before when the movie starts. And I don't even want to know what's inside that crane that they're going to fling.
It's probably frosting, because, the cupcake and all, but yeah, I didn't get that looked very wholesome myself.
You have to hope it's frosting.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It looks absolutely bizarre, but I have total faith in the Behemoth, and I'm sure it's going to be quirky and crazy and fun as hell, too.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, after Battle Block Theater, I already really loved them before, but after Battle Block Theater, I have total faith in anything they do, even if it does involve some kind of cupcake riding, or Spider Woman riding cupcake. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Hey, this could be the least sick thing about the game. You never know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is the stuff they're allowed to show.
Right? Yeah, we can only show this. How about this, guys? Take a look at this.
So yeah, I'm sure it's going to be great. It's going to make people go, "What on earth am I playing? But why can't I stop playing it?" Which is just like Battle Block.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely. Well, I guess we've reached the end of this episode of the Continue Countdown. You want to be able to put in your initials and tell everyone you were here. Do either of you have initials for this week or this episode?
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
I'm thinking.
You're thinking.
I'm thinking, and I'm coming up empty.
Oh no.
I'm always initialing nothing.
Okay, DTN. Don't tell Nicole what I said about Borderlands.
What if she listens? You're in deep shit.
Oh. Well, it was nice knowing you guys then.
Can you arrange his words to say Borderlands is awesome?
Or just bleep out when I say Borderlands, and she'll be like, "What game are you talking about?" "Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it."
The Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
I hate Call of Duty.
That's a
Swear to
plan.
God, Call of Duty, not Borderlands. Call of Duty. TV. Call of Duty. Oh wait, no.
That sounds like a plan. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of this episode of Continue Countdown. Please join us next time when we talk about more video game things, and we won't tell Nicole. Everyone promise. Good night.
Good night.
Night.